Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. It's Hal Sparks, Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, and give a thumbs up to support the show. We soldier on, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Hal Sparks, the most Hal Sparks you'll ever Hal Sparks in your whole Hal Sparks in life. Obviously, some folks are seeing the news, if it is indeed news, of Matt Gaetz being nominated for AG. I have my own theory about this, which is quite simply that as acting AG, he will go after whoever Trump wants him to, start that ball rolling, and then because of people who are threatening to quit or because of the Senate refusing to confirm him because he shows pictures of the women he's sexually assaulted on the floor of the House, they will not confirm him. Thune's choice. This is more like a fuck you to Thune. And ultimately, it will sort of peter out at him going after Nancy Pelosi, I suppose. This would clarify, though, if this is his intention, then Biden should just go on a fucking pardoning spree right out of the gate. Just hand him out. Just do it. The idea that a full-on rapist is going to be the AG is both grotesque and absurd. And I would like to remind you, and I think chat room will probably agree with me on this, but for the record, in case you were wondering, and I think this cements it, no woman anywhere has overreacted to the potentiality of a Trump presidency, not in 2016 and what he did to the Supreme Court, which ended up with Roe, and certainly not now. Any woman who is reacting in any way at all is, if anything, underreacting, probably tamping it down so they don't end up in a fucking straitjacket. So just saying, women, I see you. And I absolutely recognize the fact that no one overreacted to this asshole. No one. We tried to keep our shoulder to the wheel and push forward on this, but there's not a single woman out there that's overreacted to this. But I mean, just Hegseth saying women shouldn't serve, and Matt Gaetz is a potential AG. Now, this may be a double bluff. This may be him proposing someone he knows will not make it through the nominating process, or very well may not even make it through the cycle, to the point where he's anybody allows him to even walk in the door. That's a possibility, but it could be to draw attention away from Hegseth or some of the other people he wants, including people he has actually addressed, such as this asshole. And by the way, hit the like and share the show, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is Mike Huckabee, whose daughter is engaged in all kinds of local corruption, adorable Nebraska corruption, or Arkansas corruption. But he's going to be, this give you any indication of just the level of low-res dipshittery that will make up the Trump cabinet. And again, if you want this asshole to walk off a short pier he has constructed himself, this is how it happens. By the way, Andrea, my Blue Sky app is now just at halsparks.com on Blue Sky. So if you go to bsky.app/@halsparks.com with the little @ thing, that will take you to there. This should give you some indication. He wants him to be ambassador to Israel, and he will be, because he's ambassador to the fucking rapture, let's be honest. Mike Huckabee addressed his role as U.S. ambassador to Israel. A new sheriff is in town. Great. Congratulations, Israel. Meet your boss hog.
All right, Katie and Clay, thank you. Now on X, the current governor of Arkansas, Sarah.
And by the way, they're going to be citing the shit out of X as a news source on Fox. All the more reason to not go there anymore. As fast as you can get out, get the fuck out. And anybody who's saying I'm sticking around just for the dusting it up is giving Elon Musk traffic he has not earned. Fuck that. Goodbye. End of story. Other than that, I have no opinion. Here we go.
Huckabee Sanders had some very kind words for the former governor of Arkansas, that being her father, our friend Mike Huckabee, who was just nominated to be the U.S.
Notice he sniffed after he said our friend Mike Huckabee. Our friend Mike Huckabee. Who does that? Liars do that, actually.
ambassador to Israel. Governor Sanders wrote, quote, "There is no one President Trump could have picked with a greater love for the Israeli people and..."
That's not Jewish, I suppose, would be the other part of it, or that's not, doesn't have family there or any connection to it, other than the fact that he's an evangelical Christian who believes that all the Jews needed to be rounded up so that Jesus could see them all clearly from Armageddon, the mountain overseeing the entire area, and then he could wipe them out for not being good followers or something.
Commitment to the unbreakable bond between America and Israel than him. Joining us with more, President Trump's nominee to be ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee.
And dude, I would just recommend you spend all your time there. Pack your shit. Goodbye. If you ever come back to the United States in the next 4 years, except for Christian holidays, you're allowed back in the country for Easter and Christmas. That's it. But the rest of the time, you better be in Tel Aviv wearing a helmet.
Governor, I agree with your daughter. I think she is a better governor and a lot smarter than me, so we both take second place. But in all seriousness,
first of all, you've always been dumb, Sean, and you've never been a governor. I think the line that you were trying to say before your brain cramped was, I think she's a better governor than you and smarter than me, bobbity-bob, because he's trying to compliment the man on his daughter. But he couldn't bring himself to do it because sometimes the tongue tells the truth where the brain refuses.
I look at Israel, the size of the state of New Jersey, and I look at them now battling a 4 or 5 front war between Hezbollah, Islamic Jihad in the north. You got Hamas out of Gaza in the south. You got the Houthi.
I thought the Abraham Accords was supposed to handle all this
rebels,
shit.
And you got ballistic missiles being fired directly from Iran that is...
Yeah, that are being blocked by the fucking Biden administration.
You know, supplying all of this weaponry because Joe Biden and Kamala...
all the way, by the way, through Russian bases that Trump gave them. Our bases that, yeah, there you go.
Harris allowed them to get rich by not enforcing sanctions. How quickly do you...
Yeah, by the way, none of this is from the money of easing oil sanctions when Russia got cut off. Again, this is just goofy, but whatever.
Believe Donald Trump can impact that conflict in the Middle East?
Sean, I think he's impacting that conflict before he's even sworn in.
Right. He's told Israel, fill your boots, man. Open fucking fire. Congratulations, uncommitted. Welcome to the absolute abject destruction of Gaza and the West Bank. And probably southern Lebanon and parts of Jordan and northern Egypt. Because I got news for you. If there's going to be another 6-day war to capture the Sinai, this would be the time to do it. This would be the time to do it. If you're going to try and recapture that land that you parsed out and gave back to the Egyptians and decide to use it just as a safety buffer zone, now would be the time to do it. And I'm not the only one thinking this. I guarantee they're sitting around a table looking like they're playing Risk.
You're seeing a scrambling all over the Middle East of countries suddenly trying to behave differently because they know a new sheriff has come to town, and this isn't a one-bullet Barney with a bullet in his shirt pocket. This is the real deal. I mean, this is Donald Trump that they are afraid.
Right. So they've shifted. By the way, shifting those kind of people from I might be able to work something out and will patiently decide back and forth in a warlike footing, the complicated part of this to, well, time to meet Allah is not exactly progress.
Afraid of. And I'm just ecstatic that he has asked me to be part of
Me too, man. Pack your shit. Have fun. I hope you spend more time there than Newt Gingrich and his wife spent at the Vatican. Just I don't even know why you're still here, man. Why aren't you broadcasting straight from there?
I think it's going to be not just a realignment of political parties and many institutions in America, but really the world, to bring peace that we desperately...
Why does this sound more and more like Timu Antichrist? I mean, how much further do these assholes have to go before He wipes out Gaza, they wipe out the West Bank, and Donald Trump declares himself God in the remnants of the old temple. Like, I'm God's messenger, which basically makes me like God. I mean, these guys are straight up just trying to call Revelation's bluff.
We need. And quite frankly, when I look at all these people that he's picked, I'm incredibly impressed with all of them.
Oh, yeah? You think Matt Gaetz, serial sexual assaulter, and a guy who is currently under investigation, both in the ethics committee and in Florida, for transporting a minor while under the influence of drugs across state lines for sex? You think that's going away, by the way? You think the DOJ can stop states from bringing charges against criminals, even if they are in the government?
I feel like that I'm a 1995 Ford pickup trying to enter the Indy 500. I don't see myself in the same view as I do some of these wonderful people he's picked. But
yes, you're nowhere near as smart and as balanced as Pete Hegseth, and nowhere near as tried and true as a serial sexual assaulter as Matt Gaetz, or as slipshod with national secrets as Tulsi fucking Gabbard. Get out of here.
I'm honored beyond even description.
Right, because you get the relatively easy job because there will be no need for an ambassador. They will have a direct aortal conduit directly to the White House. What the fuck do we need an Israeli ambassador for now? Honestly. Seriously. I mean, they might as well have an office in the off the Oval, for fuck's sake. I'm dead serious. What's he going to do? Negotiate on behalf of the United States between the two countries? He knows this is just a cush job where he'll be sometimes he'll be on the phone. Most of the time he'll be delivering envelopes with messages written in rice paper on them.
Be able to serve my country and this president in a nation that I've been traveling to since July of 1973 when I was 17, made about 100 trips there, and I couldn't be.
Isn't it weird that you've been to Israel more than Trump had been to Washington before he got a job there? Isn't that weird? That's not weird at all. You're not Jewish. It's weird. It's kind of weird. Like, I made a lot of trips to China, but not anywhere near that ballpark, and I was working. I was doing a TV show.
More grateful to this president for giving me the opportunity to serve the country and him.
And by him, I mean the Lord Jesus. I'm kidding, Donald Trump.
Oh, well, I'm sure you're going to work very closely with my friend Steve Witkoff. He was announced today as the special envoy to the Middle East. Like you, he knows the area well. I think, one of the more interesting picks.
Special envoy. Mm-hmm. Isn't that how these motherfuckers are like? The private sector knows how to do everything, right? The government can't do shit. All end up with federal jobs. And special envoy? What is he, the Carter Page of this shit?
Will be Elise Stefanik. And I've never been a globalist. I find the UN to be historically virulently anti-Semitic and anti-American. I don't trust the WHO. We know they covered for China during COVID. I don't like the WEF. I never liked the Paris Accords. The Iranian deal is asinine, the worst deal ever made.
No, it isn't. Or Trump wouldn't have been trying to get back into the exact same deal his last week in office.
So I would imagine if the Elise Stefanik that lectured the pro-Hamas professors before Congress, if that Elise Stefanik shows up at the United Nations, that's going to be a little bit of a shakeup, the likes of which maybe we haven't seen in our lifetime. That could be entertaining.
Why? What's she going to do? Yell at our allies? He did that last time. Our allies have resources. They have recourse. They can join together. The EU can circle the fucking wagons. What she's going to go over there and do, just like Trump did when he, and Nikki Haley was ordered to do, is fillet Russia and China and give them a pass. Elise Stefanik is the ambassador to the to the Kremlin and the CCP. That's her job now. She is the liaison to the CCP and the Kremlin now in the UN. She's not the American ambassador to the UN. She's not there for the interests of America within the UN. She's there to shore up the weight of China and Russia in the UN and make them on balance with us so that they can have leverage again. And to guarantee they never lose the leverage, even if they don't have it in terms of population, in terms of economic output, making sure they don't fade off the stage. That's her gig. That's what she's there for. Elise Stefanik represents Russia and China at the UN because she's not going to benefit us. What's she going to do that is going to better America's position in the world at the UN? Finger wag? What? Refuse to have our troops put in UN peacekeeping forces in Sudan or some shit and just go, just black people, let them kill themselves. That would be the height of it. That's the top end. The fuck is she going to do that's going to make America better or our position in the world better? Get out of here. She is going to directly benefit Russia and China. And collecting envelopes. I think they've got other ways to do that. They don't need to do that through the UN. I really don't.
It'll be very entertaining, but more importantly, it's going to be a great revelation of what's wrong at the UN and why for many years I've never understood why we kept dumping money into it. I've often said get a jackhammer, hammer the thing right off and float it into the East River and invite any country who thinks they could enjoy it to have it. She's not going to be invited.
He means the building here in New York or whatever. Like, it's so fucking weird. Then what was the worth of Nick? Partly why? Why does he think that? Same reason he thinks it about what impact she's going to have, what Nikki Haley had. There is no benefit to the United States when those people are in charge. And the last time, I would argue that during Obama, there were a lot of both from a trade standpoint and from a moral responsibility standpoint for the rules on engagement in different theaters of war through the UN and stuff was a valuable thing that we added to it. But we're not on the hook to it. And this motherfucker seems to think that the UN rules the United States. They've been selling this jackbooted thug bullshit to the country for a long time. Like, we are under the thumb. These are the same motherfuckers who think that the Paris Accord is legally binding and will destroy the U.S. economy. They think we have to follow things in the Paris Accord even if they destroy our economy. When there's literally at the end of the document, right before you sign it, none of these things have to be done if it would be detrimental to your economy. Not even like destroy your economy. Not even wipe it out. Just detrimental. If they would be a negative drag at all, any green tech, green energy, renewables, any of that stuff, if it would dampen your shit, you can get away from it. That's why it was so loosely binding. The idea is that they did it from a sense of honor and pulling together. The Paris Accord is exactly that. It's an accord. It's an alignment of ideals. It wasn't a legally binding document where everybody could fuck you with trade or tariffs or some shit if you didn't have enough electric car charging stations. But that's what people believe because of dumbasses like this, which, by the way, is why I'm glad he's the ambassador to Israel. Because it's meaningless. Broom this motherfucker off there and let him tour around mega churches in the United States talking about what a good friend he is to Israel because he made sure they had enough bombs and bullets. Fuck off. Everything else this guy says is utterly meaningless because he is now the ambassador to Israel at a time when Israel doesn't even need an ambassador to the United States.
To a lot of after 5 cocktail parties in Manhattan where she'll be saluted by the swells, but that's not why she's going, and it's why she's going to be terrific in that position. She's bold, strong, unafraid, and will take nothing off of any of them. And we need to be bold. There's no reason that you have people like Iran and communist China on human rights committees talking about human rights when they violate them more than anybody. So it's time for...
Yeah, as a matter of fact, there's an area where they've violated human rights in the making of Trump's Bibles even. Are we to believe that Trump, while still making major products that he sells through his company, are we to believe that he's actually going to give a shit?
Complete reset of our internal and international relationships. That's what Donald Trump is clearly setting out to do. And I couldn't be more delighted to see this.
All right, what's the big reset? What's the reset in Israel? He's going to be the Israeli ambassador. I'm dead serious. Like, he could talk a big game about all this bullshit, and Elise Stefanik's a fucking... I mean, it's again, one of the reasons Trump puts women in certain ambassador roles is because he thinks it's women's work. You can see his disrespect for the integrity of the institution based on the fact that he puts women in charge of it. Genuinely, it's like even his chief of staff is a glorified assistant to him, not a chief of staff. Now, granted, his brain is melting, so we'll see how much control she takes. But Tulsi Gabbard herself is not going to get cleared as DNI. She's going to be nominated, but then they're going to have to walk back a woman, and that he's going to use that as a cudgel later on. There's a bunch of reasons why she just won't make it through. And again, a couple of these, it seems like, and this is my feeling on this, a couple of these, it seems like he's responding to Thune being the leader in the Senate and just trying to throw this like, we wanted the best people and they made us choose these second tier people so that when the shit they're going to do fails, they can blame the fact that they didn't have Tulsi and Matt Gaetz in there.
Take place.
Well, one thing that has to happen if the world ever wants to have real peace and safety and security, we can never allow the Iranian mullahs with their radicalism to get nuclear weapons, which they are desperately seeking. And
yeah, still haven't gotten them. All through Biden, right? Still managed to keep them from doing it. Why would they? Here's my question. Why would they not want them now? Why wouldn't Russia give? I mean, Turkey just broke off ties with Israel entirely. So why wouldn't Russia, via Turkey, give Iran a nuke? Even if they just give them the technology and say they have it, even if it's bullshit, test something for them and make it look like it, because you could do that as well. There's an argument that China does that through North Korea, that some of the tests were Chinese and they're just kind of hiding them because they do them through North Korea. And they're like, we'll do these tests off your rocket bases and everybody will think you're nuked out the ass and they'll be afraid to fuck with you. And we don't have to worry if it blows up on our platform. So there's elements of that's possible in the fuckery we're talking about.
They have got to be stopped. They're the #1 state sponsor of terror. I cut off their money, and if they keep firing missiles at Israel, it's time to take out their refineries, take out their nuclear sites, and the world will be a better and safer place, in my humble opinion. Congratulations, Governor. I guess I should say Ambassador.
Not yet, but, I mean, no doubt he will be.
Thank you. Hey, Sean Hannity.
Again, that's probably the least of our worries with this motherfucker. Or Ratcliffe, I suppose. Ratcliffe is probably almost the most, he's the CIA director, is who, let's see, I think they announce it. Hold on one second. They announce Ratcliffe on this clip, yeah?
This is a Fox News alert. President-elect Donald Trump announcing that former Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe will serve as his CIA director. Trump saying about Ratcliffe, quote, from exposing fake Russian collusion to be a Clinton campaign operation to catching the FBI's abuse of civil liberties at the FISA court. John Ratcliffe has always been a warrior for truth and honesty with.
He did neither of those things. He literally didn't.
The American public. So there.
Click here.
So there. That's the entirety of it. And by the way, Ratcliffe is one of those guys who will do his job more than likely, no matter what he's, what Trump tells him to do. And they'll get mad at him, but he'll be dug in like a tick. The battle will be between him and if Tulsi Gabbard or whoever replaces him tries to muscle shit around. Right? Who will ever want to become a CIA informant with this crowd? Well, that's exactly it. My concern, again, is if you put RFK Jr. in charge of the FDA and the CDC, or even in alignment with what he wants, you're setting us up for a bioweapon attack that we will have no response to, other than Trump will suck off whoever sent it, just like he did last time. If you believe, if anybody, and a lot of these people do, if you believe that like COVID was a bioweapon, Trump basically said nice job and gave him head. So there's no reason to believe it would be any different this time. We just gotta, keep our fingers crossed that nothing terrible happens. The same thing is true of the CIA and the DNI. If they're first of all, they can't go after Americans in this. There's an element of the CIA specifically where keeping someone like that's attention outside the country is a bigger deal. Wray isn't going anywhere for the foreseeable future, so they might ask for his resignation, but I don't see that as happening in particular. So if the CIA is dismantled, it won't be dismantled. It won't. Because Trump is afraid there'll be a terrorist attack on his watch. And the biggest thing, you could undermining it, defunding it, lowering the funding on FBI or CIA is one of these big wet dreams of them. But if they do it and there's any kind of a major attack, it's on him for basically pantsing America in the face of it. Now, maybe it'll be too late. Maybe he'll be a jelly-headed fuck and he won't care anymore. But the people around him who, in theory, would like to be leaders one day or president one day or whatever will be fucked forever because they oversaw it as well. Yeah. So that's the other aspect of this.